Binangga ang kanyang sasakyan sa isang store sa Brazil.
Ating alamin kung bakit niya ito nagawa at kung nakaligtas nga ba siya mula sa mga detalye ng balitang ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi, ako po si Ricky Matay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alago Flores, itong mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Martes.
National Security Council nilinaw na wala sa loob ng territorial sea ng Pilipinas ang Russian attack submarine na namataan noong November 28.
Bulkang Taal muling nag-alboroto kaninang umaga.
Taiwan, inaasahang magkakaroon ng bagong war games ang China sa paparating na Biyernes.
Iraqi fighters pumunta sa Syria para labanan ang mga rebelde.
At PlayStation, pinasalamatan ang kanilang fans sa kanilang 30th year anniversary. Wala sa loob ng territorial sea ng Pilipinas ang Russian attack submarine na nakita sa layong 80 nautical miles kanluran ng Cape Calavite, Occidental Mindoro noong November 28. Ang isyong yan ay niliwanag mismo ni National Security Council spokesperson Jonathan Malaya sa isang public briefing.
Paliwanag ni Malaya na mataan sa high seas ang naturang Russian submarine kaya nagsasagawa lamang ito ng right to navigation. Nagkaroon din ng isang radio challenge ang dalawang kampo dahil nais ng Pilipinas na malaman ang dahilan ng presensya ng Russian submarine sa West Philippine Sea. Ayon sa kapitan ng attack submarine ng Russia, galing sila sa PASEX exercises o passing exercises kasama ang Royal Malaysian Navy sa Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. At inaantay lamang niya na gumanda ang lagay ng panahon upang makabalik na sila sa Vladivostok Naval Base sa Russia.
Plano ng Philippine Navy na bumili ng 2 pang anti-submarine platforms upang palakasin ang kakayanan nito laban sa mga submarines. Ayon kay Navy spokesperson Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, nakapagsumite na sila ng mga proposals para sa pagbili ng 2 pang corvette o frigate. Binigyan din niya ang pangangailangan na mas moderno at makabagong kagamitan para sa Philippine Navy sa harap ng tumitinding banta sa seguridad ng Pilipinas. Sa kasalukuyan, mayroong 2 missile frigate ang Navy na may kakayahan ding magsagawa ng anti-submarine warfare. Bukod dito, kasalukuyang ginagawa sa South Korea ng HD Hyundai Heavy Industries ang 2 guided missile corvette at 6 na offshore patrol vessels para sa bansa.
Binigyang diin ni Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin na walang kinalaman ang Malacanang sa inihaing impeachment complaints laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte ng ilang grupo sa mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso.
The statement of the President is unambiguous na wala kaming kinalaman dyan. And we are not going to encourage that. The President has been very clear about his position on this. So any suggestion na political yan or instigated by our side, no, that is never true.
Giit ni Bersamin, independent initiative ito ng mga nagreklamo at ang pag-endorso nito ay karapatan niya ng isang kongresista. Una nang inulit ni Bersamin ang pahayag ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na huwag pag-aksayahan ang panahon ng paghain ng impeachment complaints laban sa Vice-Presidente. Ang mga reklamong impeachment laban kay VP Sara ay kasunod ng pagbitaw niya ng assassination threats sa first couple at kay House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
While impeachment is often described as a political exercise, it is crucial that members of the Senate approach it with impartiality and objectivity. Ito ang mahigpit na paalala ni Senate President Cheese Escudero sa kanyang mga kasama sa Senado ukol sa inihaing impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. At upang mapanatili niya ang integridad at tiwala ng publiko sa Senado sa oras na sumampa na sa mataas na kapulungan ang impeachment complaint laban sa bise. Iwasan anyang magkomento o mag-react tungkol sa nasabing reklamo. Dagdag pa ni Escudero, hindi dapat lumabas na bias ang Senado kaya hindi tamang magbigay ng anumang pahayag ang sinumang senador, kaalyado man at kaibigan pa ni VP Sara. Kaugnay nito, sinabi naman ni Senator Francis Tolentino na unethical para sa mga senador kung maglalabas ng komento tungkol sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Anya, ang Senado ang impeachment judge kaya alinsunod sa rules ay hindi dapat magkomento ang mga senador tungkol sa nasabing issue.
Bilang chairman ng Senate Committee on Rules, hindi dapat mag-comment ang miyembro ng Senado. Kasi kung sakaling makarating po ito sa Senado, kami ang impeachment judge. So we should not comment on something that we will decide. So para po maging ethical at nakaalinsunod sa rules, ay hindi dapat po mag-comment kahit sinong senador. Kasi po, kagaya po ng kayo po, pwede ba nyo interviewin ng RTC judge? Judge, anong gagawin nyo sa kaso? Hindi naman pwede ganon. Pwede nyo bang interviewin ng isang Supreme Court Justice? Justice, ano kung tingin nyo sa kaso? Yung po ay dinidesisyonan ng sang-ayon sa facts at sang-ayon sa batas. Kasama na rin doon yung form and substance. So, unethical for us to comment on this. Yun yung aking pananaw bilang chairman ng Committee on Rules.
Nakasaad sa konstitusyon ng Pilipinas na public office is a public trust, kaya dapat lamang na responsable ang mga opisyal at empleyado na naglilingkod sa gobyerno. Dapat ay mamalagi sa kanila ang katapatan sa paglilingkod para sa taong bayan. At ayon sa batas ng Pilipinas, maaari silang parusahan kung sila man ay gumawa ng mga paglabag. Ngunit may ilang matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno ang may immunity from suit gaya na lamang ng presidente at ng vice-presidente. Ang dalawang taong ito ay maaari lamang matanggal sa pwesto sa pamamagitan ng isang impeachment. Ang impeachment ay tumutukoy sa kapangyarihan ng Kongreso na alisin sa pwesto ang isang pampublikong opisyal dahil nakagawa ito ng mabibigat na krimen o maling pag-uugali alinsunod sa konstitusyon. Exclusive ang listahan ng impeachable officers at sila ay pwedeng i-impeach lamang dahil sa mga sumusunod na grounds: culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, bribery, graft and corruption, other high crimes, or betrayal of public trust. Nagsisimula ang proseso ng impeachment sa House of Representatives o Kamara. Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng paghahain ng isang verified complaint na maaaring isumite ng sinumang miyembro ng Kamara o sinumang mamamayan sa pamamagitan ng isang resolusyon na may endorsement ng sinumang miyembro. Sa loob ng 10 araw ay isasama sa order of business ang impeachment complaint at sasalang ito sa House Committee na siyang mag-iimbestiga muna kung mayroon bang sapat na dahilan ng reklamo. Kung ang impeachment complaint naman ay inihain ng at least 1/3 ng lahat ng miyembro ng Kamara, sila ay dapat bumuo ng articles of impeachment at didiretso na ang paglilitis sa Senado. Pero kung hindi naman, may 60 araw ang komite para gumawa ng isang report na pagbobotohan ng mga kongresista. At least 1/3 vote of all members of the House is necessary to either affirm or override the resolution. Kung lumusot sa Kamara ang impeachment complaint, aakyat ito sa Senado at magkakaroon na ng impeachment trial doon. Sa Senado, 2/3 ang kailangang boto para ma-impeach ang sinampahan ng impeachment complaint. Pero sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas ay wala pang nai-impeach na vice-presidente.
Kinumpirma ng Philippine Statistics Authority o PSA na wala silang tala ni Mary Grace Piatos sa kanilang database. Sa pinadalang certification ng PSA sa House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, tinukoy na walang certificate of live birth, certificate of marriage at certificate of death si Piatos. Sinabi naman ni National Statistician Dennis Mapa, maaari pa ring hanapin ang PSA sa database kung may magbigay ng karagdagang impormasyon sa ahensya tulad ng pangalan ng magulang ni Piatos, petsa at lugar ng kanyang kapanganakan.
We just received the certification from the PSA yesterday. So, in-inform pa lang sa akin ito ng ating COMSEC. So, at finorward ko na ito sa mga Viber group namin ng mga miyembro.
Hiniling naman ni Representative Joel Chua sa PSA na suriin din ang iba pang mga pangalan na nakapirma sa mga isinumiteng acknowledgement receipts ng Office of the Vice President. Ipinasusuri na rin ni Chua ang mga pirma ng mga ito sa National Bureau of Investigation o NBI.
Parang bogus yung acknowledgement receipt na lumalabas. So parang ganun ang nangyayari dyan. So siguro magiging next step namin is baka pati yung iba papa-check na rin namin yung ibang mga names na madidiscovery pa namin. O pwede rin nating masabing gano'n, pina-check na rin namin, humingi na rin kami ng tulong sa NBI to check yung mga signatures. Like for example, yung signatures nung Kokoy Villamin. So let's see.
Inilabas na ng Department of Budget and Management o DBM ang ₱1 bilyong pondo para sa Department of Public Works and Highways o DPWH para ilaan sa pagpapatayo ng mga disaster-related infrastructure projects. Ang pondong inilabas ay base na rin sa kautusan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na ayusin ang mga tulay, kalsada, paaralan at iba pang infrastruktura na sinira ng magkakasunod na bagyong tumama sa Pilipinas. Sinabi naman ni DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman, naglaan ang DBM ng kabuuang ₱22.736 bilyong budget para sa National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund para gamitin ang ibang ahensya ng gobyerno sa agarang pagresponde sa tuwing may kalamidad.
Nakapagtala ang FIVOX na mahinang pagsabog sa Bulkang Taal sa Batangas ngayong Martes. Ayon sa ahensya, bandang 5:58 ng umaga, nagbuga ang Taal Volcano ng 2,800-meter tall jetted plume. Naitala rin ng FIVOX ang 2 pagyanig sa bulkan na tumagal naman ng 4 na minuto. Nananatiling nasa Alert Level 1 ang Bulkang Taal. Ibig pong sabihin, asahan pa rin ang mga steam-driven o phreatic o minor phreatic magmatic eruptions, volcanic earthquakes, minor ashfall at pagbuga ng volcanic gas ng bulkan. Susunod, Taiwan inoobserbahan ngayon ang isang Chinese aircraft carrier na rumoronda sa Taiwan Strait.
NATO ay pagpapaliban muna ang pag-imbita sa Ukraine bilang miyembro.
At Israel at Hezbollah nagpalitan muli ng pag-atake sa kabila ng ceasefire deal ng dalawang panig. Mga detalye ng balita niyan at iba pa sa pagbabalik na mata ng Agila International.
Power.
Uli kami. Kaya lumipat kami ng Senado at maghanap kami sana.
Okay, according to the panel, they counter-affiliated us.
Mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Inoobserbahan ngayon ng Taiwanese Defense Ministry ang galaw ng isang Chinese aircraft carrier na namataang rumoronda ngayon sa Taiwan Strait. Batay sa impormasyong iniulat ng mga security sources ay inaasahang maglulunsad ang China ng panibagong war games o malakihang military exercise sa pagtatapos ng linggo sa pagbalik ni President Lai Ching-te sa Biyernes. Ayon kay Taiwan Defense Ministry spokesperson Sun Lifang, ay tugon ito ng China dahil labis na ikinagalit nito ang Pacific Tour na isinagawa ni President Lai. Dumagdag pa rito ang karagdagang tulong na ibinigay ng Estados Unidos matapos ang Hawaiian detour nito. Sa pagtatapos ng 2024 ay may 2 okasyon nang nagsagawa ang Beijing ng War Games bilang paninindak sa kasalukuyang administrasyon ni President Lai na sa iilang okasyon ay tinawag nilang separatista. Patuloy na naninindigan si Lai na hindi parte ng China ang Taiwan sa kabila ng paulit-ulit na pahayag ng CCP, subalit patuloy na nanawagan ng presidente na nais niyang magkaroon ng kapayapaan sa pagitan ng dalawang bansa. Wala pang komento ang Chinese Defense Ministry ukol dito.
Pinuri ni U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken ang comprehensive security partnership ng Estados Unidos at Vietnam. Alamin po natin ang balita mula kay Leslie Gumarang.
Binida ni U.S. State Secretary Antony Blinken ang lakas ng ugnayan ng Amerika at Vietnam. Ito ay sa kanyang pakikipagpulong sa Chairman of the External Relations Committee ng Communist Party ng Vietnam na si Lê Hoài Trung.
I think the strength of our comprehensive strategic partnership reflects the importance and value that we both attach to this relationship and to the many things that we're working to accomplish together in the Indo-Pacific. And I think you can already see many of the benefits flowing from the comprehensive strategic partnership, including stronger cooperation and work together on everything from semiconductors to supply chain resilience to deeper and broader educational exchanges, capacity building, cultural exchanges, and of course, core legacy issues.
Noong nakaraang taon, tiniyak ni President Joe Biden ang kasunduan ng US at Vietnam ukol sa semiconductors at minerals. Ito ay nanghirangin ng strategic Southeast Asian nation ang Washington sa pinakamataas na diplomatic status katabi ng China at Russia. Sa 2025, ang US at Vietnam ay magdiriwang ng ika-30 anibersaryo ng tinatawag na normalized relations. Samantala, binigyan diin ni Lê Hoài Trung ang papel ng ugnayan ng dalawang bansa sa pagsusulong ng kapayapaan at sustainable development.
And I agree with you that the partnership has brought about tangible benefits for the people of our two countries. And in the interest of peace and cooperation and sustainable development in both regions and also in the world. And next year, the year of 2025, would mark the 30th anniversary of the normalization of relations between the US and Vietnam. And we have seen rapid, comprehensive progress in the relations of the two countries.
Leslie Gumarang para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Ibinasura ng Korte Suprema ng Vietnam ang mosyon na iapela ang death sentence ni real estate tycoon Trong My Lan. Nasentensyahan si My Lan matapos mapatunayang guilty ito sa embezzlement ng halos $12 billion, kasama pang ibang panluloko at panunuhol na ginawa nito upang maprotektahan ang kanyang sarili. Itong itinuturing na pinakamalaking financial fraud case sa buong kasaysayan ng bansa at tinitingnang magiging ehemplo ng anti-graft campaign ng gobyernong tinatawag nilang Blazing Furnace. Ayon sa korte, kapag naisoli na nila ng lagpas kalahati sa perang kanyang nakuha mula sa iligal na pamamaraan, ay saka pa lamang nila kukonsiderahin na ibaba ang kanyang sentensya sa panghabang buhay na pagkakakulong.
Halos tiyak na umano ang pagpapabagsak sa gobyerno ng France ngayong linggo matapos magsumite ng no confidence motions ang mga partido mula sa right and left wings laban kay French Prime Minister Michel Barnier. Ayon kay Finance Minister Antoine Armand, nasa kritikal na kalagayan ang bansa dahil sa kawalan ng kasiguraduhan sa budget at sa kinabukasan ng pamahalaan. Nagresulta na ito sa pagbagsak ng stock at bond markets ng France na ngayon ay nahaharap na rin sa tumataas na deficit. Sinabi naman ni Marine Le Pen, leader ng right-wing National Rally, nasawa na ang mga tao sa mga palpak na desisyon ni Barnier mula nang maging Prime Minister ito noong Setyembre. Samantala, ang France Unbowed, isang left-wing party, ay nagdeklara rin ng intensyon itong isensure ang gobyerno dahil sa kawalang kakayahan ng administrasyon ni Barnier at ng pamumuno ni French President Emmanuel Macron. Ang no-confidence vote na ito ay nag-iiwan na malaking aberya sa gitna ng Europe, lalo na at nasa eleksyon din ang Germany.
Ayon sa ilang diplomat ng NATO, hindi inaasahang magkakaroon ng formal invitation sa Ukraine para sa pagiging miyembro nito sa isang pagpupulong ngayong Martes. Sa isang liham sa NATO, sinabi ni Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha na ang imbitasyon ay maaaring magtanggal ng isa sa mga pangunahing dahilan ng Russia sa pagpapatuloy ng digmaan nito, ang pagpigil sa Ukraine na sumali sa alyansa. Subalit, walang indikasyon na magkakaroon ng konsensus sa pagitan ng 32 mga miyembro ng NATO sa nasabing desisyon. Sinabi ng isang mataas na diplomat na maaaring abutin pa ng ilang linggo o buwan pa nga ang pagbuo ng konsensus ukol dito. Samantala, ayon sa isang opisyal ng US, ang pagpupulong ay nakafocus sa pagpapalakas ng suporta sa Ukraine upang makapaghanda ito para sa susunod na taon ng digmaan.
Pinili ni British Prime Minister Keir Starmer si Chris Wormald bilang Cabinet Secretary na kanyang makatutulong para sa mga reformang gagawin sa United Kingdom. Papalitan ni Wormald si Simon Case ngayong darating na December 16 upang kaagad na simulan ang 5 misyon para sa Labour Party. Si Wormald din ang tumatayo bilang Head of the Civil Service sa United Kingdom. Naniniwala si Prime Minister Starmer na sapat ang karanasan ni Wormald para sa kritikal na pagbabago ng kanilang gobyerno.
Daang Iraqi soldiers na suportado ng Iran ang tumawid papuntang Syria nitong Lunes upang tulungan ang gobyerno sa paglaban sa mga rebelde na sumakop sa Aleppo noong nakaraang linggo. Simula noong 2020, tila nananatili sa kontrol ni Syrian President Bashar al-Assad ang karamihan ng teritoryo at mga pangunahing lungsod sa Syria. Ang mga milisya ng Iran sa rehiyon, kasabay ng suporta mula sa Air Force ng Russia, ay naging mahalaga sa tagumpay ng pro-government forces laban sa insurgents. Ngunit nahaharap ang alyansang ito sa bagong pagsubok matapos ang mabilis na pagsulong ng mga rebelde sa hilagang kanlurang bahagi ng bansa. Sa gitna ng pagkaabala ng Russia sa digmaan sa Ukraine at ang pagkawasak sa leadership ng Hezbollah dahil sa Israel, lalo ring lumalala ang sitwasyon.
Hindi bababa sa 9 ang patay at 3 ang sugutan itong Lunes matapos ang serye ng mga pag-atake ng Israel sa katimugang bahagi ng Lebanon. Iniulat ng mga otoridad ng Lebanon ang 2 pang namatay sa ibang bahagi ng katimugang Lebanon, kabilang po dyan ang isang miyembro ng state security na nasawi. Ayon naman sa Israeli military, daan-daang Hezbollah militants sa buong bansa ang kanilang tinarget. Ang panibagong sagupaan ay naganap matapos akusahan ng Hezbollah ang Israel ng paglabag sa ceasefire deal. Kung kaya't gumanti ang militant group sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakawala ng mga missile sa isang posisyon ng militar ng Israel sa Sheba Farms kung saan wala namang naiulat na namatay.
Binigyang diin ni U.S. Ambassador to the United States at UN Security Council President Linda Thomas-Greenfield ang kritikal na sitwasyon ngayon sa Gaza. Sa kabila nito ay nagsisikap ang Estados Unidos na humanap ng isang diplomatic solution para sa Gaza. May Fanway Zaragoza para sa report.
Sa gitna ng hindi bumubuting humanitarian situation sa Gaza dahil sa 14 na buwang giyera doon sa Israel, sinabi ni U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield na humahanap ang Estados Unidos ng solusyong diplomatiko araw-araw.
The situation in Gaza will be at the top of our focus. We will continue our relentless diplomacy to bring an end to this conflict and bring the remaining hostages home. We will continue to work around the clock to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people.
Nang tanungin si Thomas Greenfield ukol sa pagsalansang sa ceasefire sa pagitan ng Hezbollah at Israel, sinabi ni Thomas Greenfield na nakatutok ito na tiyaking maipagpatuloy ang tigil-putukan. At tulad sa Lebanon, nais rin anya nito ang ceasefire para sa Gaza at maiuwi ang hostages.
Look, what we will be working for is a diplomatic solution on the ground. We have people on the ground working around the clock to try to find a path to a ceasefire in Gaza and bring home the hostages and deal with the horrific humanitarian situation on the ground. We have never given up on that, and I can assure you this administration will be working on this until we succeed or until we walk out the door on January 20th, and I hope we succeed. We're working to succeed. And then on the situation in Lebanon, we're moving forward. There has been an agreement. There have been some hiccups, but the agreement is still standing, and we're looking forward to monitoring the situation on the ground to ensure that the situation continues, the ceasefire continues to be honored.
The talks are at the moment to try and get a ceasefire in Gaza. What's holding it up? What makes you think you can get this done by January 20? And also, what is...
Tuloy-tuloy ang biyahe papuntang Estados Unidos ng migrant caravan sa Katimugan, Mexico. Ang kanilang susunod na destinasyon ay Huehuetan, Chiapas. May Lasimuran po para sa detalye.
Nagsimula ng paglalakbay ang migrant caravan sa border town ng Tapachula. Kasama ng caravan ang daang-daang mga migranteng nais makatungtong sa Estados Unidos upang humanap ng mas maayos na buhay. Kabilang ang maraming bata. Ang grupo ay ineskortan ng mga sasakyan ng Municipal Police at National Guard. Karamihan sa mga migrante ay tumatakas sa kaguluhang politikal at kahirapan sa pamumuhay at dahil sa pangako ni U.S. President-elect Donald Trump na paghihigpit sa border at sa daan ng asylum, lalong hindi makatiyak ang mga migrante kung saan sila makakarating.
Para adelante, para allá, no hay de otra, no hay más opción. Para Venezuela no puedo ir. ¿Qué vamos a hacer en Venezuela? Si no hay más, no hay solución, no es como el presidente supuestamente que ganó y él perdió, se quedó en el poder. ¿Quién dice algo?
Pinakamalaking ipinag-aalala ng mga migrante ang pagsapit ng Enero 20 kapag nakapanumpa na si Trump. Ito ang petsang malaki ang posibilidad na sarahan na ang border papasok na Estados Unidos. Nangangamba ang mga migrante na maghihigpit na rin ang mga otoridad sa Mexican border.
Tantas incertidumbres que tiene uno como ser humano de ver tanto sacrificio que uno ha hecho para poder llegar hasta acá y ver que hay personas que simplemente no les importa el sacrificio ajeno. Pero Dios es bueno todo el tiempo y si es su voluntad pues llegaremos allá y pasaremos como quien dice por la puerta grande.
Ngunit sa kabila ng mga pangangbang ito, marami sa kanila ang naninindigan na walang ibang daan kundi pasulong. Mas nanaisin nila ang makipagsapalaran kaysa ang bumalik sa kani-kanilang mga bansa kung saan mas wala silang solusyong natatanaw.
Yo pienso que la migración es algo que existió toda la vida y que para bien o para mal esto no va a dejar de existir. Y presidente que esté, él yo creo que por ahí, más allá de cerrarnos las puertas, creo que va a haber un mayor control.
May nasimbulan para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Dalawang senador ng Estados Unidos ang nakipagkita sa Attorney General na pinili ni President-elect Donald Trump. Perlorogasyon para sa balita.
Noong Lunes, kinongratulate ni Senators Chuck Grassley at Lindsey Graham si Pam Bondi bilang pili ni President-elect Donald Trump upang tumayong Attorney General ng bansa. Ayon kay Grassley, sana ay nararamdaman ni Bondi ang karangalan bilang Trump pick para Attorney General.
But I want to congratulate you, Ms. Bondi, to be President Trump's nominee to Attorney General. Your 8 years and previous experience to being Attorney General of Florida for 8 years prepares you, I'm sure, well for this job, and look forward to working with you and leading your nomination through the United States Senate and through the committee is the first step. So I want to congratulate you, and I hope that you feel the honor that you should feel for having this nomination from President Trump.
Samantala, sinabi naman ni Graham na si Bondi ang tamang pili para sa tamang panahon.
She's a great choice, been a long-time friend. I think the right person at the right time. I look forward to next year.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Ang 59-year-old na si Bondi ay ang pinakamataas na law enforcement officer ng Florida mula 2011 hanggang 2019. Florida ang ikatlong pinakapopuladong estado sa U.S. Naglingkod din si Bondi sa Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission ni Trump sa unang administrasyon nito. Bahagi rin si Bondi ng defense team ni Trump sa kauna-unahang impeachment trial nito. Tumulong rin si Bondi bilang leader ng legal arm ng America First Policy Institute, isang right-leaning think tank kung saan nakipagtulungan ang personal nito sa kampanya ni Trump upang hubugin ang mga tuntunin ng panibagong administrasyon.
I do, Chairman, and should I earn the trust and the nomination from all of the senators, I will do my best every day to work tirelessly for the American people, and I will make you, the President, and our country proud.
Sure, you bet.
Thanks, Chairman.
Mabilis na pumalit si Bondi kay Matt Gaetz bilang nominado ni Trump para sa pwesto. Ito ay matapos umatras si Gaetz sa nominasyon dahil sa mga alegasyon ng pakikipagtalik sa isang menor de edad na babae at paggamit ng droga. Itinanggi ni Gaetz ang mga akusasyon. Pearl Rugasyon para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Tapos na ang pagsisikap ng BRICS nation na palitan ng US dollar bilang pangunahing pera sa pandaigdigang kalakalan. Ito ang direktang babala ni US President Donald Trump sa Brazil, Russia, India, China at South Africa o BRICS matapos ang ilang buwang pagpapahiwatig ng grupo na gagawa sila ng isang bagong currency system upang palitan ng US dollar. Kamakailan ay sinabi rin ni Russian President Vladimir Putin na ang ginagawa ng BRICS ay isang halimbawa ng konstruktibong kooperasyon at batayan ng New Just World Order. Subalit, hamon naman ni Trump sa BRICS kung itutuloy nito ang kanilang planong gumawa ng BRICS currency upang palitan ng US dollar ay magpapataw siya ng 100% tariff. Sabi pa ni Trump, dapat asahan ng BRICS na magpaalam sa pagbebenta sa kahangahangang US economy. Kumpiyansa rin ang uupong presidente ng US na walang tsansa ang BRICS na mapalitan ng US dollar sa pandaigdigang kalakalan at anumang bansang magtatangkang gawin ito ay dapat nang magpaalam sa Estados Unidos. Hinikayat din ni Trump na mangako ang BRICS sa hindi sila gagawa ng anumang currency para palitan ang US dollar.
Sa kakapasok na balita, nagdeklara si South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol ng emergency martial law matapos akusahan ng oposisyon dahil sa umano'y pakikipagsimpatya ng mga ito sa North Korea. Sinabi pa ni President Yu na kinokontrol ng oposisyon ng parlamento at pinaparalisa ng oposisyon ng gobyerno dahil sa mga anti-state activities nito. Paliwanag ng Pangulo, mahalagang isailalim sa emergency martial law ang South Korea upang protektahan ang kaayusan sa kanilang bansa. Susunod, 20 katao patay matapos tumama ang Cyclone Bengal sa South Asia.
PlayStation may pakulo para sa kanilang ika-30 anibersaryo.
At Carlos Yulo at iba pang atleta kikilalanin sa PSA Annual Awards. Yan at iba pa pong mga balita sa pagbabalik ng mata ng Agila International.
Power Group.
Uli kami. Kaya lumipat kami ng Senado at maghanap kami sana ng
Okay, according to the panel, a counter affidavit was
Tuloy-tuloy
at kasiyahan ngayong linggo. Lunes, makikigulo kami sa Barangay 811, Zone 88, Paco, Manila.
Martes, mag-enjoy tayo sa Barangay 424, Zone 43, Sampaloc, Manila.
Miyerkules, kita-kits tayo sa Barangay Holy Spirit, Quezon City.
Huwebes, gigisingin namin ang mga taga-Barangay Payatas, Quezon City.
Biyernes, darayo tayo sa Barangay San Antonio, Guagua, Pampanga.
Pupunuin natin ng masayang kwentuhan, tawanan at papremyo dito sa LTE. Love,
Tony Pet and everything. Kabarangay nyo.
Let's together sa NET25.
Nagbabalik ang mata ng Agila International sa pagpapatuloy ng ating mga balita ngayong gabi. Pumalo na sa 20 katao ang nasawi sa pagtama ng Cyclone Bengal sa South Asia. Ayon sa tala ng Disaster Management Agency ng Sri Lanka, nasa 17 katao ang nasawi, habang nasa 470,000 naman ang inilikas na sa mga relief camps. Sa India naman po, nakapagtala ito ng 3 nasawi matapos makuryente ng tumumbang poste dahil pa rin sa bagyo. Sarado pa rin ang mga daan sa Tamil Nadu dahil sa baha at kanselado pa rin ang mga pasok sa mga paaralan. Patuloy naman ang paghahatid ng tulong ng gobyerno ng dalawang bansa sa mga naaapektuhan ng Cyclone Bengal.
Inaresto ng mga pulis ang isang babae matapos banggain ang isang establishmento sa Brazil. Kita sa video ang ilang sandali bago dumiretso ang sasakyan sa tindahan. Mapapansin na may isang babae ang pumunta sa loob ng store para sabihan ng mga tao roon. Pero nakapasok ng sasakyan sa tindahan, buti na lamang at nakaiwas ang mga ito. Sinubukan namang tumakas ng babaeng driver pero napigilan naman ito ng mga store clerks. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, ginawa ng sospek ang krimen dahil hindi ito pinagbentahan ng tindahan. Sugatan naman ang 2 katao sa insidente. Dinala ang sospek sa Tocantins Civil Police Station para kasuhan ng attempted murder with direct intent at attempted murder with eventual intent.
Sa huling araw po ng United Nations Plastic Talks, higit sa 100 bansa ang nagpahayag ng suporta ukol sa mga pagpapahinto ng plastic production. Samantalang may ilang mga oil trading companies naman ang nakafocus sa plastic waste. Natapos na ang plastic talks ng mga leader ng United Nations na wala namang kasundo ang nabuo. Narito po ang detalye ng balita mula kay Angela Guzman.
Isang mainit na debate ang naganap sa pagitan ng mga negosyador para sa isang treaty na magwawakas sana sa polusyong dulot ng plastik. Nakatakdang maglagom ang panlima at huling UN Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee sa Busan, South Korea. Layo ng komite na makabuo ng isang legally binding global treaty ukol sa katapusan ng plastic pollution. Subalit noong linggo, hindi magkasundo ang mga bansa ukol sa saklaw ng kasunduan. Isang opsyon ng Panama na sinuportahan naman ng higit sa 100 bansa ang nagmumungkahi ng daan para sa Global Plastic Production Reduction Target. Ayon kay Special Representative for Climate Change at National Climate Change Director ng Environment Ministry ng Panama na si Juan Carlos Monterrey, lason ang plastic.
Plastics are not convenience. Plastics are poison. Every piece that we allow to produce without limits is a direct assault on our health, on our nature, and our children. For those blocking progress, you are allowing this crisis to fester, and it will kill us. This is just not a treaty about plastics. This is humanity's line on the sand. If we don't get an ambitious treaty out of Busan, it will be a global betrayal.
Samantala, isang mungkahi naman ang hindi nagbabanggit ng production caps. Para sa ibang negosyador tulad ni Fijian Climate Minister at Chief Negotiator si Vendra Michael, walang aalis ng Busan baon ng isang mahinang kasunduan.
If it does not have the provisions or what we expect from an ambitious treaty, then we'll come back to the multilateral process and go back to the same process pushing for an ambitious treaty. Like we've said, and like all of us in this table have said, nobody is going to leave Busan with a weak treaty. Nobody is going to accept a weak treaty.
Hamon ni Michael, kung walang balak sumuporta sa ambisyong kasunduan, ay umalis na lang.
If you're not contributing constructively, and if you're not trying to join us in having an ambitious treaty, one that is mandated by NET25 then please get out.
Sa kasalukuyan, hindi pa itinakda ang huling plenary session. NJ de Guzman para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Nasabat ng pulisya ng Australia ang illegal na droga na nagkakahalaga ng $500 milyong mula sa isang nasirang bangka malapit sa baybayin ng Queensland. 13 tao ang arestado, kabilang ang crew ng bangka at ang mga naghihintay sa baybayin upang kunin ang shipment ng droga. Halos 2.2 tonelada ng cocaine ang nakumpiska na kinikilala ngayon bilang pinakamalaking operasyon kontra cocaine sa kasaysayan ng Australia. Iniulat ng Australian Federal Police na isa sa mga naaresto ay ang Vice President ng Comanchero Outlaw Motorcycle Club sa Brisbane. Kilala ang gang na ito sa Australia dahil sa kanilang drug violence crimes kung saan mahigit 1,000 shooting incidents ang naitala mula noong 1980s.
Pagkatapos ng Black Friday shopping event sa Estados Unidos, hindi naman nagpapadaig ang tinatawag na Cyber Monday. Ito po ang pinakabonggang araw ng internet shopping naman sa US. Michelle Verzonilla po para sa balita.
Kanya-kanyang pakana at paandar ang nilabas ng retailer sa bansa para sa Cyber Monday ngayong taon. Gamit ang malalaking deskwento at promotions, umaasa ang internet shops na makakakuha ng malaking daloy ng trapiko ng mga mamimili sa kanilang websites. Kung sa bagay, ito nga naman ang pinakamalaking araw ng internet shopping sa buong US. Dahil sa hindi masyadong mainit na shoppingan noong Biyernes, dinaan ng online retailers ang pangaakit gamit ang push notifications, emails, at pati na rin artificial intelligence upang makakit ng cyber shoppers. Umaasa ang retailers tulad ng Walmart at Amazon sa generative AI customer service at search features upang maging mas madali para sa online shoppers ang humanap ng mga produkto sa website at mobile apps. Ayon sa paunang estima ng Adobe, inaasahang ang benta para sa Cyber Monday sa bansa ay aabot ng $13.2 billion. Iyan ay mas mataas ng 6% kumpara noong nakaraang taon. Michelle Versonila para sa mata ng Agila International, Trusted, Connected on Point.
Naglabas ang PlayStation ng video para pasalamatan ng mga fans na patuloy na sumusuporta sa kanila. Ang video ay isang montage ng mga pinaka-hit na laro sa PlayStation. Kasama na rito ang larong Final Fantasy VII, Tomb Raider series, FIFA games, Ratchet & Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Horizon, The Last of Us at iba pa. December 3, 1994 nang inilunsad ang PlayStation sa Japan kung saan ay naging bahagi na rin ng childhood memories ng mga gamers noong dekada 90. Higit sa video, bibigyan din ang PlayStation ng exclusive merchandise tulad ng special edition PlayStation 5 systems at accessories. Bilang bahagi ng kanilang bagong rebrand at bagong motto na Copy Nothing, ay ibinunyag ng Jaguar ang disenyo ng kanilang panibagong concept car. Ang bagong modelong kanilang pinangalanang Model Type 00 ang pinakaunang electric two-door coupe na planong ilabas ng kumpanya. Pinapairal din ito ang isang minimalist design philosophy at mahabang front hood upang pairalin ang pagiging moderno at futuristic ng kanilang mga ilalabas na modelo. Nilabas naman ito bilang preview ng unang henerasyon ng bagong direction ng Jaguar kasama ng 4-door GT na ilalabas naman sa susunod na taon. Nakakuha naman ito ng samut-saring reaksyon mula sa mga netizens kung saan may ibang pinuri ang disenyo ng Jaguar na tinawag naman itong tamang yapak patungo sa bagong henerasyon. May iba namang sinabing nagmukhang cheap at nagmistulang cellphone sa pagka-generic ang pangalan ng Jaguar.
Kikilalanin po muli ng Philippine Sports Association o PSA ang athletes, grupo at personalidad na nagpakinang sa Philippine sports nitong 2024 sa PSA Annual Awards Night na gaganapin sa January 27, 2025 sa Manila Hotel. Sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon, nakamit ng Pilipinas ang double gold medal sa Olympics mula kay dynamic gymnast Carlos Yulo sa 33rd edition ng Olympic Summer Games sa Paris, France. Nagpasiklab si Yulo 3 taon matapos namang buhatin ni lady lifter Heidelin Diaz ang first ever gold ng bansa sa Tokyo, Japan kasabay ng 100th year ng partisipasyon ng Pilipinas sa quadrennial event. Sa Paris, matatangdaang nag-deliver din ng 2 bronze medals ang boxing mula naman kina Nesty Petesio at Ira Villegas. Sama-sama ang Filipino Olympians at mga kinatawan sa Paralympic Games na bibigyan parangal ng oldest media organization ng Pilipinas. Tampok sa event ang paggawad ng Athlete of the Year Award. Iluluklok din sa PSA Hall of Fame ang namayapang si track and field legend Lilia de Vega. Kaugnay naman sa centennial participation ng Pilipinas sa Summer Games ay kikilalanin ang past Filipino Olympians.
Nagtala naman ang kasaysayan sa NBA si Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry. Siya ngayon ang pang-29 na manlalaro ng NBA na nakaabot ng 24,000 career points. Naitala nito ang record sa laban nila ng Phoenix Suns kung saan sa kasamaang palad ay nabigo silang manalo. Isa lamang ito sa ilang mga NBA history na naitala ni Curry kung saan ang star point guard ay siyang nangunguna sa all-time 3-point leaders at iilang mga kategoryang kalakip sa iba pang 3-point records.
Kinumpirma ng veteranong singer na si Elton John na tuluyan na itong hindi nakakakita. Ibinunyag nito ang kanyang sitwasyon sa kanyang pagsasalita sa gala performance sa The Devil Wears Prada musical sa London. Dagdag pa nitong kahit na hindi na siya nakakakita, ay masaya naman siya dahil sa naririnig ang kanyang mga fans na nagugustuhan pa rin ang kanyang pagkanta. Unang ibinunyag ng 77 anyos sa singer ang kanyang kalagayan noong buwan ng Setyembre kung kailan tinamaan siya ng impeksyon sa mata na siyang nagresulta sa limitadong paningin. Dagdag pa ni Elton, patuloy ang kanyang pagpapagaling, subalit medyo may katagalan talaga ang proseso nito. Susunod, pamana ng isang nanay sa kanyang anak, pinagkaguluhan ng netizens.
Japanese artist ipinakita ang kanyang leaf-cutting art.
At abangan ang iba pa mga istorya pagdating ni Alma Angeles at ng Mata ng Agila World News. Mga detalye ng balita niya natin baba sa pagbabalik pa rin ng Mata ng Agila International.
Pa rin tayo ang sinubaybayang pangunahing news.
Kahit na justified yung pagpatay ko sa kanila, alam ko, bawal pa rin yan. Let the proper agencies already continue the investigation and pursue the case.
Magpapakuha ko ng blood pressure para pumalo yata 140.
Dapat Ali, ready ka ako, ready ako karate. Oh.
Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Dito lang sa NET25.
Together sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Sa kasulukuyang henerasyon, marami na ang nag-viral. Dahil po yan sa kanilang ginagawang pagtulong sa kapwa. Pero mas marami ang tumutulong kahit walang nakakakita. Kaya naman kung ikaw ay may kilala na grupo o individual na may natatanging pagresponde sa lipunan at maging sa kalikasan, mag-text lamang sa 0915-415-1035 o mag-email sa responde@net25.com at magpadala ng mensahe sa ating Facebook page at NET25 TV. Baka kayo na ang susunod nating Certified Key Responder.
Let's net together sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Trending po ngayon online ang pamana ng isang nanay sa kanyang anak ngayong holiday season. Hindi naman high heels kundi rare Air Jordans ang kinokolekta ni Mommy. Dahil dito umuulan ngayon ang hashtag Mother of the Year at hashtag Retired Sneakerhead para kay Miss Chu Young-hyo matapos niyang ipamana ang kanyang shoe collection sa kanyang anak. May tuturing ng luxury item para sa mga sneakerhead ang Air Jordan brand dahil sa kontribusyon na ginawa ni Michael Jordan sa larangan ng basketball at sneaker culture. Madalas na hinahanap ito ng mga kolektor dahil sa limitadong pares nito na natitira sa merkado at hindi gawain ng Air Jordan na gumawa ng reissue ng mga lumang pares na nailabas na nito sa mga nagdaang taon.
Ika nga po, patience is key to success dahil matapos ang higit sa 8 oras na maigi-iging pag-uukit sa isang piraso ng dahon ay nakabuo itong silito ng isang obra maestra. Sa edad na 38 lamang ay naging kaaliwan na niya ito matapos ma-diagnose ng attention deficit hyperactivity disorder o tinatawag po natin na ADHD. Kaya naman taong 2020 ay natagpuan niya ang art of leaf cutting. Dito niya ibinuhos ang kanyang pasensya at konsentrasyon. Samantala, ang lahat ng kanyang mga nalikhang leaf cutting work ay ipinapakita naman niya sa social media.
Ganda, di ba? Merong super saya. Nakita ko si Goku. Alam mo ba, Ricky, dati meron akong konsepto na gusto kong magpinta sa bigas. Di ba nakakatuwa?
So yung isang butil ng bigas doon ka
ilalagay mo siya sa likod ng magnifying glass, di ba? Tapos doon talagang, siguro yung brush mo, isa lang ang strand doon, imbis na madami. Kasi nga sobrang liit. At dahil hindi ko siya nagawa, nakita ko merong gumawa. Ang galing, di ba? Kasi halos, lalo na itong panahon na to, wala na halos original na konsepto. So kung meron kang idea, tapos hindi mo siya sinimulan, meron at merong gagawa. Gaya nga nitong grabe nga siya.
Pero bigas yun sa'yo, isang butil ng bigas. Mas maganda yun.
Yun na nga.
Di ba? So kailangan kasama, matanda mo yung report natin na saging. Di ba isang saging sa isang malaking canvas,
sabi ko sa'yo, kakainin ko, di ba kinain nga?
At proud na proud siya doon. Yung bigas mo, dapat may kasamang, hindi rice cooker.
Bawal isa.
Dapat yan may kasamang microscope or magnifying glass.
Tama, para ma-view nila ng maganda at makita nila yung detalye na nandoon.
Tapos gawin natin negosyo yan, Nina.
Di ba?
Oo.
Imagine na kung magkano isang cup nun. Ha?
Sa Sesame Seed. Gusto ko makita, Nina, I think, bilang iyong kaibigan, sinusuportahan kita hanggat maliwanag pa ang iyong paningin.
Di ba, no? Parang darating ang panahon, parang yung solid ko na kulay, wala na masyadong mga detalye.
Di ba yan? Sige, abangan po natin ang butil ng bigas, Nina.
Ayun.
Ay, tatalunin mo na talaga yung presyo ng bigas natin.
Isipin mo ang 1 cup of rice ng art ko. Kung magkano na.
Mas mahal pa sa 1 kilo ng bigas natin.
Antayin nila yan.
Antayin natin. Aabangan natin yan. At ngayon naman ay aabangan natin ang iba pa mga balita, Nina. Dahil narito na po si Miss Alma Angeles. Tandaan ha, mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Narito naman kami ni Nina upang maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Muli, ako po si Ricky Matay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alago Flores. Ito po ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nanggaling din sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina Enrique. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for NET25 World News. On tonight's headlines. Double threat looms over Southeast Asia as a new storm system threatens Malaysia and Thailand, where communities are still reeling from last week's devastating floods. In Vietnam, a court delivers its final verdict. Death sentence upheld for real estate tycoon Truong My Lan in a staggering $12 billion fraud case. Taal volcano in the Philippines erupted early this morning with a steam-driven explosion just 130 kilometers south of Manila. And U.S. President Joe Biden's controversial pardon of his son Hunter Biden raises eyebrows. Legal experts say the move is within Biden's constitutional power but challenges traditional norms.
I do think this doesn't help his legacy, let's put it that way. I think because he made the clear commitment, but also because in attributing political motives to the prosecution and saying that a pardon was justified on that basis, I think he acted very unwisely.
And the news starts now. Southeast Asia is facing a double whammy just as the devastating floods from last week begin to recede. A new wave of heavy rain and potential flooding is looming. The recent floods, some of the worst in decades, have claimed 27 lives and affected over 500,000. households in Malaysia and Thailand, while water levels are slowly decreasing in some areas, allowing displaced residents to return home. Weather forecasts predict another round of intense rainfall.
Nasib baik kita sentiasa prepare kat rumah tu, kebetulan lah. Jadi apa ni, masalah terperangkap tu memang terperangkap lah, kita tak boleh nak keluar sebab air kat dalam luar sana kuat. Di sini pun kuat, masa tu kuat, dan sini air limpah lagi laju.
Malaysia's worst-hit states, Kelantan and Terengganu, are expected to experience thunderstorms and heavy rains this week. A monsoon surge is also forecast for the entire Malaysian peninsula next week. In Thailand, although the number of affected households has decreased, authorities warn of heavy rainfall and potential flash floods in the lower south. The floods have caused widespread damage, destroying homes, disrupting transportation, and impacting businesses and agriculture. Drone footage from the Tiruvannamalai district of India's Tamil Nadu state captured the devastation caused by a landslide triggered by heavy rains from Cyclone Fengal. At least 7 people lost their lives in this disaster. The footage shows mud and debris engulfing homes on a hillside with large rocks scattered across the landscapes. Rescue crews, including excavators, are working tirelessly to clear the wreckage.
அங்க யாருமே உடல, மீதி எல்லாருமே யார வீட்ல இருக்காங்களோ எல்லாரும் இங்க இருந்து ஓடி போயிட்டு எல்லாருமே காப்பாத்துனாங்க. இதுதான் வெள்ளம் வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு யாரும் நிக்கல, இங்க இருக்கிறவங்க கீழ இருந்து எல்லாமே மேல போயிட்டாங்க. சரி காப்பாத்திட்டு வந்துடணும் அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin expressed his condolences to the victims' families and pledged compensation. Cyclone Fengal made landfall on Saturday, bringing strong winds and torrential rains to the region. FIVOX has reassured the public that the recent minor phreatomagmatic eruption at Taal volcano is not expected to escalate into a major volcanic event. The eruption, which occurred at 5:58 a.m. on Tuesday, lasted for approximately 4 minutes and produced a 600-meter high plume of ash. Ashfall was reported in nearby areas including Poblacion, Agoncillo, and Buso-Buso, Laurel, Batangas. FIVOX attributed the eruption to the interaction of water with a small amount of magma beneath the Taal main crater. While the agency continues to closely monitor the volcano's activity, current data indicates that a significant eruption is unlikely at this time. A historic hearing opened at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, aiming to clarify countries' legal obligations in tackling climate change and the consequences of contributing to global warming.
Climate activists rallied outside the International Court of Justice in The Hague on Monday as a landmark hearing began over climate crisis issues that could influence litigation worldwide. The United Nations top court, commonly known as the World Court, has been asked to give what's called an advisory opinion on the legal obligations of countries to fight climate change and the consequences for states of contributing to global heating. Vanuatu is one of the small island nations that spearheaded efforts for the case.
We find ourselves on the front lines of a crisis we did not create.
Its climate change envoy, Ralph Regenvanu, was the first of more than 100 states and international organizations to offer views during the 2 weeks of proceedings.
We look to the court for recognition that the conduct which has already caused immense harm to my people and so many others is unlawful, that it must cease, and that its consequences must be repaired. In closing, I choose my words carefully when I say that this may well be the most consequential case in the history of humanity. Let us not allow future generations to look back and wonder why the cause of their doom was condoned.
The hearing began a week after developing nations condemned the climate financing deal that came out of the COP29 UN summit as woefully inadequate. World Court advisory opinions are not binding, but they are legally and politically significant. Experts say the court's eventual opinion on climate change will likely be cited in related lawsuits around the world. Saudi Arabia and Germany were among those who argued against the case on Monday. They said state obligations on climate change are already set out in existing UN treaties, such as the Paris Climate Deal.
To impose any obligations or consequences that go beyond or conflict
with those contained in the specialized treaty regime on climate change would risk undermining the integrity of this regime and impaired future progress in international efforts to protect the climate system.
The court is also set to hear from the world's top two emitters of greenhouse gases, the United States and China, as well as the oil producer group OPEC. The case will continue until December 13th, and the court's opinion is expected to be delivered in 2025.
Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock is in China for high-stakes talks amid growing tensions over security and trade. Her visit comes as Europe debates tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and confronts the broader implications of Russia's war in Ukraine. Take a look. Before her meeting with China's top diplomat Wang Yi, Baerbock highlighted the interconnected nature of global security, drawing a direct line between Europe's stability and rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific.
Die Sicherheit und Stabilität Europas ist fest mit der Sicherheit und Stabilität im Indopazifik verknüpft. Das betrifft massive, unangekündigte Militärübungen vor Taiwan, ebenso wie das aggressive, provozierende Verhalten im südchinesischen Meer. Die Regeln, die wir uns mit dem Völkerrecht als Weltgemeinschaft gegeben haben, kennen kein à la carte. Das internationale Recht, auch das Seerecht, gilt für alle.
Baerbock also addressed growing concerns about trade imbalances, especially the influx of heavily subsidized Chinese electric vehicles into Europe.
Wir wollen kein Auseinanderreißen unserer Verflechtungen, kein Decoupling, aber wir sind auch nicht naiv, sondern wir wollen unsere europäischen und unsere deutschen Arbeitsplätze und unsere Industrie in Europa schützen. Wir wollen Fair Play statt Faulspiel. Wenn also jetzt hochsubventionierte E-Autos auf den europäischen Markt schwemmten, dann müssen wir darauf reagieren. Denn es geht um Ausgleich, um das Level Playing Field, um gleiche Bedingungen und fairen Wettbewerb für alle.
She also warned that Moscow's use of Chinese-made drones and North Korean troops in Ukraine risks pulling Asia deeper into the conflict.
Denn wir sehen eindeutig, die Sicherheit Europas und Asiens sind unteilbar miteinander verbunden. Der russische Präsident zerstört nicht nur unsere europäische Friedensordnung über seinen Krieg gegen die Ukraine, sondern zieht jetzt über Nordkorea auch Asien mit hinein.
Taiwan's defense ministry said that it's closely monitoring China's military activities, with security sources suggesting that Beijing could start new military drills as soon as this weekend.
我们整体的国防安全，这是国防部一个无可旁贷的一个责任。在这一个职责之下，我们对于所有敌情的研判是非常仔细，也非常有我们整体的非常绵密的一个作业机制。那么，透过敌情研判以后，我们会针对敌人可能采取的行动去做一个分析，包含他最可能的行动，包含他可能其他危害性比较高的行动，这些都会在我们整体的情研范围里面。
China, which claims Taiwan as part of its territory, has already conducted 2 rounds of war games around the island this year, and its forces operate in the area regularly. New drills could be timed with Taiwan President Lai Ching-te's visit to the Pacific this week, which includes stops in Hawaii and Guam, trips that China has strongly objected to.
I am grateful to the United States for its assistance and support provided under the principles of safety, dignity, comfort, and convenience, which ensure the success of this trip. I'm especially delighted that the first stop of this visit is Hawaii.
While Lai rejects China's claims over Taiwan, he has expressed a desire for peace and continues to offer talks, though Beijing has consistently turned him down.
中方坚决反对任何形式的美台官方往来，坚决反对美方以任何形式纵容支持台独分裂分子及其分裂行径。台湾问题是中国核心利益中的核心，是中美关系第一条 不可逾越的红线。
A Vietnamese court has upheld the death sentence for real estate tycoon Truong My Lan, rejecting her appeal in a $12 billion fraud case. Lan, chairwoman of Van Tien Pat Holdings, was convicted of embezzlement and bribery in Vietnam's largest financial fraud. The High People's Court ruled there were no grounds to reduce her sentence, though reports say she could have her sentence commuted to life imprisonment if she returns 3/4 of the embezzled funds. The consequences Lan caused are unprecedented in the history of litigation, and the amount of money embezzled is unprecedentedly large and unrecoverable, the prosecution said at the appeal hearing, according to state-run Vietnam Net. Lan's lawyer cited her remorse and partial repayment as mitigating factors, but prosecutors argued it wasn't enough to change the outcome. Malacanang clarified today that President Marcos Jr. had no involvement in the impeachment complaint filed by advocacy groups against Vice President Sara Duterte in the House of Representatives. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin emphasized in a statement that the filing was an independent initiative by private citizens. The impeachment complaint filed in the House of Representatives by several private citizens is clearly the complainant's independent initiative, and its endorsement the prerogative of any member of the House of Representatives. He added, the office of the President has nothing to do with it. The President's earlier statements on the matter is unambiguous. The complainant filed on Monday accuses Duterte of committing 24 violations. It came shortly after her controversial remark about allegedly asking someone to kill President Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and Speaker Martin Romualdez if a supposed plot against her succeeded. President Marcos has previously dismissed impeachment efforts, stating they are unproductive. Myanmar's Navy fired on a group of Thai fishing boats, leading to the tragic drowning of one fisherman, as reported by a spokesperson from Thailand's Defense Ministry. In addition, 31 crew members from one of the boats were taken into custody. The incident involved 2 out of 15 Thai fishing vessels, which were operating at 4 to 5.7 nautical miles inside Myanmar's territorial waters, according to spokesperson Thanatip Sawangsang.
Ambulances were seen at the port of Ranong in southern Thailand after Myanmar's Navy opened fire on a group of Thai fishing vessels on Saturday. The incident caused one fisherman to drown, while Myanmar authorities detained 31 crew members from one of the boats, according to a spokesperson for Thailand's Defense Ministry. 2 of 15 fishing vessels were fired at after they operated inside Myanmar's territorial waters near Ranong, the ministry initially said. But Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra on Sunday questioned the claims that the boats had encroached into Myanmar waters, saying it was inconclusive. Thailand's authorities have protested the use of force during the incident and are in negotiations to release those detained. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Phumtham Wechayachai told reporters the country had, quote, no intention of encroaching on anything. If any side encroaches on another's sovereignty, there will be warning shots, but they don't aim to destroy targets, he said. Myanmar's ruling junta did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. The country has been in crisis since 2021, when the military seized power, toppling an elected government and sparking an armed rebellion by crushing protests with lethal force.
Indonesia is optimistic about reaching an agreement on the repatriation of the remaining 5 members of the Bali 9 drug ring in Australia. Now, that is according to Senior Minister for Legal Affairs, Yusril Izzah Mahendra. After meeting with Australian Home Affairs Ministers Tony Burke in Jakarta, Yusril presented a draft proposal for their return. Their terms include a ban on the 5 returning to Indonesia, legal regulations for the transfer, and Australia's commitment to respect Indonesia's court decision.
Kami juga sudah menyerahkan sebuah draft untuk dipelajari oleh pemerintah Australia, khususnya oleh Kedutaan Besar Australia di Jakarta tentang poin-poin yang disampaikan oleh pemerintah Indonesia dalam konteks melakukan transfer of prisoners atau pemindahan narapidana yang kami menunggu respons dari pemerintah Australia. Mudah-mudahan dalam waktu tidak terlalu lama masalah ini dapat didiskusikan dan dicapai satu kesepakatan sehingga proses transfers of prisoners itu dapat dilaksanakan.
The Minister was also good enough to raise in advance of this meeting that he was wanting to have a conversation in response to the letter that I'd sent with respect to the remaining members of the Bali Nine. We worked through the different issues in each of our legal systems that we would have to work through there and work through in a very constructive way. I have full respect for the Indonesian legal system and approach the conversations with a great deal of respect and a great deal of humility.
Two of the Bali Nine's ringleaders, Andrew Chan and Muran Sukumaran, were executed in 2015, prompting Australia to recall its ambassador in protest. Another died of cancer that same year. The fate of two American Israeli hostages held in Gaza is becoming clearer tonight as violence spread in Syria. Take a look. Israel confirmed the death of 21-year-old Omar, an American Israeli soldier from New York, killed in the October 7th Hamas attacks. For over a year, his family believed he was still alive. His mother spoke at a hostage rally just before the tragic news was revealed. Meanwhile, another American hostage was shown alive in a Hamas propaganda video released Saturday. The family of Eden, also captured, continues to appeal for his safe return.
On the video, we saw Eden speaking directly to Benjamin Netanyahu and asked him to make a deal and to release all the hostages. He also called President Trump to do whatever he can to bring them home.
Meanwhile, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump warned that there would be hell to pay in the Middle East if hostages held in the Gaza Strip were not released before his January 20 inauguration. In his most explicit remarks on the hostages' fate since his November election, Trump stated on social media, "If the hostages are not released prior to January 20, 2025, the date that I proudly assume office as President of the United States, there will be, quote, all hell to pay in the Middle East and for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity." Trump further emphasized those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. In related developments, World Central Kitchen has halted operations in Gaza after 3 staff members were killed in an Israeli airstrike. While Israel claimed one was involved in the October 7th attacks, the organization denies any knowledge of such links.
فاجى تجيب ضربه هيك خاول هان واحد ما وصل هان بعد ما وصل هان في 2 شباب كانوا قاعدين هان اجوا ينقصوا قلب الجيب ما وصلوا الجيب ضربوهم معاهم.
Across the region, conflict is intensifying. Syria has seen its most significant rebel advance in years. In response, Assad's forces and their backers have launched over 400 airstrikes on Aleppo, leaving thousands displaced. As the fighting continues, the future of the region hangs in the balance.
We wait and see. You know, I mean, I think I'll be saying this a lot. The wait and see, I think, is quite important because I think people were very certain that they knew what was going on in Syria. They were very certain that the way forward, for example, was to normalize with the Assad regime, that he wasn't going anywhere, that, you know, the revolutionary uprising was done and dusted. And then lo and behold, the last few days. So I think it's important for people to be humble, cautious. Personally, I think that there are a number of things to be concerned about as well in terms of how the rebels engage on the ground with minority communities. But I couple that sense of caution with frankly a sense of hope that this could lead to a more positive political settlement in the medium to long term. But again, we have to wait and see. I think he goes for full brutality. I think he will try to crush the rebel advance in whatever way that he can. The question will be whether or not he comes to the conclusion that he won't be able to, hence he's got to engage in some sort of political process. I think it's too early to tell that. I think that over the coming few days or so, we'll see how strong his reinforcements are actually going to be, and that will define how he moves forward from there.
UNICEF has raised alarm over the escalating exploitation of children in conflict zones, with its executive director, Catherine Russell, revealing a shocking surge in rights violations, including a 1,000% rise in sexual violence cases and a 70% increase in child recruitment by armed groups. Thomas I. Likeness for more.
The UN estimates armed violence in Haiti has displaced some 365,000 children, many of whom end up as recruits in gangs. UNICEF Chief Catherine Russell says it's time for Haitian authorities to step up and do something.
I urge the transitional government of Haiti to take action to protect children and ensure a safe and secure environment for all civilians. All parties must prevent and end grave violations against children.
Russell says children live in fear in neighborhoods controlled by armed groups. She says many face the horrors of abuse as marauding gangs roam the countryside.
Armed groups are regularly committing grave rights violations against children, including killing and maiming. So far this year, we have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in reported incidents of sexual violence against children. This is an abomination.
Other children end up as members of gangs. Russell says gangs are recruiting a growing number of kids, and she estimates children account for 30 to 54% of armed group members.
The total number of children recruited by armed groups has jumped 70% over the last year. They are being used as informants, as cooks, and sex slaves, and they are being forced to perpetrate violence themselves.
Gang violence has plagued Haiti since 2021 after the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Armed gangs moved in to fill the power vacuum and now control about 85% of the capital of Port-au-Prince, as well as other parts of the country. The instability has led to a hunger crisis, and the UN estimates that nearly 5.5 million people are facing acute hunger. Wanya Karia of the World Food Program says that number is growing as more people are being displaced by the gangs.
So the situation is getting much more critical. We've seen a growing number of internally displaced, now getting to over 700,000 in the country. So the needs are huge.
And those needs will continue to grow as long as the gangs have free rein in the country. Haiti's transitional government has asked the UN Security Council to turn a non-UN force into a UN peacekeeping mission. But Secretary General Antonio Guterres says that would only be a last resort, and it would take several months to make that transition. For now, Haitians endure an uncertain existence, a harsh life in a country controlled by violent thugs. Thomas I. Likeness, NET25 World News.
And the news continues here on NET25. We'll be right back. U.S. President Joe Biden's controversial pardon of his son, Hunter Biden, raised eyebrows, and legal experts say the move is within Biden's constitutional power, but challenges traditional norms. The outgoing president defended the decision, citing what he called politically motivated prosecution. On Sunday, December 1, Biden signed the pardon, asserting that his son had been unfairly targeted. Hunter Biden had been facing federal tax charges, to which he pleaded guilty in September. The pardon, which will prevent him from serving time for those charges, comes just weeks before Biden's term ends on January 20, when President-elect Donald Trump will take office.
Well, I'm not sure there are any legal reasons in play. I don't think the situation really has changed in terms of Hunter's status or in terms of the issues about his conviction. I think I would view this as more of an emotional decision rather than one that involves a change in circumstances. President Biden clearly acted within his constitutional power. The Supreme Court has defined the pardon power to be very broad, and I think that that includes the power to pardon pretty much anybody for any reason at any time. In terms of norms, as I said before, it's not unprecedented for something like this to happen. It is unusual, and I think especially unusual because of the commitment that Biden made earlier not to issue a pardon in this case. So I think it's pushing the norms anyway. Yeah, there are precedents. Bill Clinton pardoned his brother, and Donald Trump, in his first term of office, pardoned Jared Kushner's father. So it doesn't happen all the time, but it certainly has happened before.
You not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
I do think this it doesn't help his legacy, let's put it that way. I think because he made the clear commitment, but also because in attributing political motives to the prosecution and saying that a pardon was justified on that basis, I think he acted very unwisely, given the threat of greater politicization of the Department of Justice and of the legal system under Trump. And I think Trump was not at all slow to pick up on the idea that this would help him justify pardons for January 6 rioters. I'm not sure that logically that's a valid conclusion on Trump's part. I think they're very different situations. But nonetheless, I think Biden's action undermines some confidence in the justice system at a time when that's really damaging.
The move has sparked criticism from President Trump, who took to his Truth Social platform to call the pardon an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Trump has previously hinted that if elected, he would issue pardons to those convicted of participating in the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol.
If the Republicans really want to go after him, what they could find is a justification to subpoena him to testify about some of those events or about events relating to Ukraine and his relationship with Ukraine, accuse him of lying and bring perjury charges. Because of the fact that he's been pardoned, he can no longer claim the Fifth Amendment because he can't incriminate himself. He's been pardoned. And that puts him at risk of this sort of perjury trap.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on NET25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you for joining us. Good night.